All right. So now Diana will get a copy as well. So I was telling Vanessa, I live in Nashville. And so Diana and I met because it was a training event here that one of my leaders was helping to give. And one of my girls on my team met Diana and pulled her into our little group and said, "Hey, you got to meet this girl, blah, blah, blah. She's a go-getter." So that's how we met. So I saw her running really hard at the last month, and I was running hard too, and one of my level 5s was running hard too. So anyway, I just thought I would help out a little bit. So, okay, I'm going to use y'all's questions as a guide because I know that's what you wanted to know. And so I'm just going to kind of run through them one at a time, and then if we run a little over and y'all need to jump off, I'll still go through all of these even if everybody has to jump off. So don't feel like that if you're in a squeeze for time because you have to get back to work or whatever. But I will stay on as my lunch got canceled today. So I can stay on and answer questions when we're finished. Okay? Does that work? Good. And I've been in the business for 3 years. So I bought my kit in December of 2014, but I did not launch my business until January of 2015. I was a preferred customer for 2 months before I bought my kit because I really didn't want to admit to myself that I wanted to work the business. But the reason that I became a preferred customer is because I did want to work the business. So that's also a little, always remember when you have people that are asking about the business and they want to try the products, I always say, like, what's your end goal? I always get to that first, because probably if I would have been pushed a little bit, I probably just would have gone ahead and bought the kit, because that's what people really want to do. When they're interested in the business and they become a preferred customer, you need to tell them the value of going ahead and getting the kit and not wasting several months of money-making time trying the products, because the products work. So a little tidbit. So I started in January of 2015, and I kicked off with my big business launch, or BBL we call it, on my team. And I come from the team of, I don't know if you know any of these people, but Wendy Green and Debbie Coder are the heads of the team that I'm on. So everything that I've learned has been because I have sometimes followed what they've said to do. But this is what our entire team teaches. And Wendy Green, I think, is the top money maker in the entire company, although she's only been in this business for 5 to 6 years. So she wasn't one of the first ones that started 10 years ago. But my guess is that she's making probably more money than any of them. And that's because she recruited her directs very, very wide. So what I know and what I'm teaching you or sharing with you is what I've been taught. So, okay. So the first question was around my team. So, and if you guys want to listen and take notes, do that. Or if you want to go back and rewatch it and take notes later, whatever you want to do is fine with me. My team, what has been the key to grow my team and reach level 5? So I hit the first month of level 5 in February of this year. So it took me 3 years. But it didn't have to, because I didn't take my business seriously at some points in my career, and at some points I didn't really know what I had, and some points I just sat back and was lazy. So there you go. But I hit my first month of level 5 qualification in February, and I hit February, March, April, and May. So that qualified me for Circle. My volume has always been good, so I didn't necessarily have to worry about volume. My hardship was getting 8 legs that were hitting their 600 or more. So it's a different journey for everyone. And I'll tell you why that is in a few minutes. But the key to growing my team and reaching level 5 is what I've been taught all along, And our team teaches 5 things. And that is, and it's kind of a little poem. You host, you post, you connect, you train, and then the last one is 3-way calls. That is what our team teaches. And I think that was a little phrase that was coined by Debbie Coder and Wendy Green. But I will say that if you're boiling it down, if you are boiling it down to 2 things, it's going to be events and 3-way calls, hands down. Because when you invite to events, it's not necessarily about how many people show up to your event. I promise you this, because every consultant in this business is going to have an event where no one shows up. Who cares? Because the point of an event is to make contact with someone. So I read GoPro by Eric Worre, and it's about being a network marketing professional. And in that book, he says, the reason for a connection with someone is to set up an appointment with the next connection. And you connect. Some people call it an interaction until they say yes. Okay? So the reason for having events is so that you connect with somebody. Whether they show up or not has nothing to do with it. Because if they don't show up, guess what? They're in the position of feeling a little bit bad about that. And so you ask them for a phone call, right? So when you schedule events on a consistent basis and you turn those, well, I can't come because my kid has soccer or whatever, you turn that into a phone call. That's okay. No big deal. Let's chat on the phone for like 10 minutes. That may be more efficient for your schedule anyway. Let me just share with you what this brand has to offer. Period. The end. You don't need to say anything more than that. But when you have events, then you have a reason to reach out to people. And then when they say they can't come, then you have a reason to get them on the phone. And scheduling 3-way calls every single week and making sure that you have a certain amount of events every single month will get you team members. It's proven in the way that our team works. So Wendy Green, who's one of my leaders, who I was telling you about a minute ago, has recruited 100 directs that work. 100. That is a big skill. But it's a matter of a math equation. So this whole business is a math equation. It's not about how good you are, because I promise you there are people in my leadership line that have less skills than others. They're socially awkward, or they're not as friendly, or whatever. But it doesn't matter. They stuck with it, and they kept asking the right questions. They kept having events, and they kept doing 3-way calls. And they eventually hit somebody that understood this. And if you ask enough people, you will. So that book also taught me that everything's a math equation. And I tell people that when they come into the business and they say, well, I'm not a salesperson. I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's a math equation. Do you share what nail polish you use and who your favorite hair person is and all that kind of stuff? And what's your favorite girly book? You share with enough people, and it's a math equation. So if you can share, then you're going to hit somebody who understands this and will want it, because there are people out there, and your job is to dig through the numbers until you hit that person. And it can be a needle in a haystack. I'm very honest with people about that and about the amount of work that's involved. But you can do it in part-time hours. Okay, so the key to growing has been events and 3-way calls. Maintaining the communication and engagement of my team. So I do all of that through my team page. So when I communicate it on the team page so that everyone can see it. Okay? And some people are going to choose to work and some people aren't. And that's okay. And that's numbers too. That is not personal. do I get frustrated sometimes when I put up a video that I think is important and it looks like nobody sees it or appreciates it sometimes, but that is business. And I know that people will watch the video or they'll see my post on my team page. And just like on my personal page, my personal Facebook page, people won't comment and like it, but doesn't mean they're not watching. So I maintain communication with my team through my team Facebook page. Now, I also know who's doing the work because I see who is posting on their personal pages. I see who's doing events, and I see who's bringing me three-way calls, and I know those people are working. And so I check in by a phone call with my directs at least a couple of times a month to ask them what their goal is for the month and to help them get there. Because it's not about me, it's about what they want. So, and I tell my consultants up front when they sign up with me, I say, I will not train you via text. It's not an efficient form of communication for me, and I have too many people on my team to be able to do that for. And even if you don't, that's still, I believe, a good boundary to form with your team is you can watch what I post on the team page, and you can answer my phone call if you want to be trained by me. And that's the way it works. Now, do I answer texts from them the first 3 months they're in business, especially if they have another full-time job and they want to shoot me a simple question? The first 3 months in business, I will answer any question that you text me. After that, you should be able to Google it or look on Pulse and figure it out for yourself. That's just it. So I check in usually with my directs for a 15-minute phone call twice a month. Reach outs. Do you always lead with a business, or are there times that you use the products to start the relationship? So in events and in three-way calls, I always lead with the business. Events, hands down, we talk about the products and the business, but you can't not do both, because Rodan & Fields has two things to offer. They offer you the best skin of your life, and they offer you an opportunity to be able to accomplish something in an entrepreneurial setting that your current situation may not offer. So therefore, we tell the story and we let people decide what they're interested in. Do I reach out to people sometimes about the products first? Yes. I'll always turn that into a business conversation though. If I reach out to them, we have a new product, yay, I'm going to tell you about it. But when they're on the phone, and I do not do a lot of communication over text, yes, there are some people that don't answer the phone, and that's the only way to talk to them is through text. But I do bring it to the phone. If they're interested in finding out about something, if they're interested enough, they will pick up the phone. And so if they ask me about something or I reach out to them, I may first reach out to them about a product so that then I can fold in the business conversation. So it's very rare that you're going to close somebody on a business kit if they're messaging you about eye cream, but there are people in my leadership line that have done that. They've asked about eye cream, somebody told them about the business, and they ended up buying a business kit instead of the eye cream. I have a level 5 under me that was interested in the lip serum. She went to an event and bought the $9.95 kit. So there are some people that will not respond about the business, but they will respond about the products. And I have several people in my leadership line that are RFX Circle Achievers that joined this business because they were interested in product. That's what drew them in. So a system for maintaining income producing activities. Yes. So there's kind of two different things that I go by. Number one, what I told you before was the host, post, connect, train, and three-way calls. So that is what I use to whittle down what's important. So I was taught by my leadership that you post on your personal Facebook page or your personal Instagram account a minimum of once a day, a maximum of twice a day about Rodan & Fields. Not everybody agrees with that, and that's okay, but that's how my leaders have become RFX Circle Achievers. So many times, Wendy Green, who's in my upline and is fabulous, she would post once about the business and once about a before and after. So that's about posting. We don't personally on this team do business pages because people take themselves off of business pages. I don't personally do that. Some people do, but what I want people to understand is when I post, I personally post 90% about my lifestyle with RF, and I post about 10% products. That's just me personally. I probably should post a little more about the products, but I want people to understand how RF works into my life and what it gives me. And the only way they can really understand about how that piece of my life works is if they see it folded in with the rest of my life. So I will make a post about training today. I will make a post about receiving, all of my stuff through Lead the Way. I will post about having a conversation with someone about the business. I will also post about a lot of other things, and this does have to be folded into your business. But post at least once a day, host events, and I know y'all have an event question that's coming up, so I'll get to that in just a second. So I host a minimum events every month. Connect, so you have to make a certain amount of connections per day, connections and follow-ups, and I'll get to that in just a minute too. Train. You need to be watching a daily experience video every day. I do it in the morning to get myself pumped up. So I go on daily experience, whatever pops up is the video for the day. I watch it while I'm getting ready in the morning, or you can listen to it on the way to work or whatever. The last thing is three-way calls, and you need to have a certain amount of three-way calls that is your goal per week to bring to your sponsor. Okay? Three-way calls will bring you business partners quicker than anything else. And if you have a team and you're not doing three-way calls for your team, you need to learn really quickly how to do that. There are lots of three-way call trainings on daily experience. Natalie Flowers does one of my favorite trainings on three-way calls, and she tells each person in that training what they're supposed to do. She tells the consultant who's bringing the invitee to the call, and she also tells the sponsor what to say and what to do. So all of my directs do their own three-way calls with their team. It's really important if you have a team of your own to establish yourself as a leader and do it scared, but you've got to do three-way calls for your own team. Because the way that the trickle-down effect works in a team is, first of all, I have to constantly be recruiting for myself. So I slid back last month from level 5 to level 4 in June. And that's because I don't have enough directs, right, that are hitting. I have to constantly be recruiting, and my people have to constantly be recruiting. I can't do all the three-way calls for my entire team. My directs, I do three-way calls for them. And if I have a direct that immediately recruits somebody, I will train both of them at the same time because they're new and they don't know what they're doing. But my directs do their own three-way calls with their teams. And they've listened to me enough, and I've done enough three-way calls with them for them to learn how to do it. And it's just a matter of practice like anything else, like events. But they need to free me up to be able to work my business all the time because I'm really no different than the rest of my team. I have to constantly be recruiting because you'll have people that'll fall off, right? So that's the system for income producing activities. The way that I do it, the order that I do it in is, and I got this from another girl who trained, is at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you need to be doing 5 follow-ups per day. That is following up with someone that said they were interested in having coffee, or someone that you've already had coffee with and now you need to send them some videos to watch, or you're following up with someone who said they were interested in product, or you're following up with somebody who's ignored you 10 times. Follow up with someone, 5 a day, because your fortune is in your follow-up. I know you've heard that before. 4, you need to be adding 4 new people to your network every day. And the way that you do that is you go and join other Facebook groups that you do not administer. Don't go start one. That's too much trouble. There's a million Facebook groups out there about if you love cats, if you are an eyelash lover, if you own, another kind of a business. I don't know, if you have a child with ADHD. There is hundreds of thousands of groups. Just go join one, friend some people, comment on some things that they do, and become natural connection. Have a natural connection with those people. And the way that you do it is you comment on something that they've posted, some true information that you have to share. Then you friend them, and then you send them a message, not about Rodan and Fields, but you send them a message. Hey, I saw blah, blah, blah that you posted, and I commented on your post. Nice to connect with you, blah. You start that relationship. So that's how you start relationships with people that you don't know. That's one way. Another way is just by going to different networking groups and meeting people and connecting with them that way. I recently went to a Chamber of Commerce meeting and met a girl, and then she invited me to the LGBT Chamber of Commerce. And I went there and found out there was a Hispanic Chamber of Commerce too. I didn't know about either of those other two until I went to one, but one led me to another to another. So go join some kind of networking group where you are face-to-face with people. So that can be another way of friending new people. Number 3, you want to invite 3 people per day to do something. You want to invite them to an event, you want to invite them to a phone call, or you want to invite them to a 3-way call or to a personal phone call to talk about the business. So you need to do 3 invitations a day to something. Invite them to hear about it in some form or fashion. 2, you want to do 2 posts. Already talked about that. You can post on your personal page, and you can post in one of those other Facebook groups that you're on, but post somewhere twice a day. One could be a non-Rodan and Fields post on a group page that you're a part of, but for sure, minimally post on your page about RF at least once a day. And then the 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the number 1, you need to average 1 conversation per day about the business. That's 365 conversations per year. When you do the math of that, then you will have a nice team. So when you're doing your invites, part of those 3 people that you want to invite per day, some of those is to a conversation, whether it be on the phone or a coffee or a lunch or whatever. So you want to have 1 conversation per day. It could be a 10-minute phone call. If you have a full-time job and 3 kids in 3 schools and you're working on the phone, one of my leaders was a pharmaceutical rep, and she knew how many minutes it took her to get from her house to the grocery store, and she was making a phone call. And she also worked her RF business while she was working for her other company, and she had to travel in her car. Car time, windshield time, I love it. I love when somebody says, I'm so busy, I travel a lot. Yay, I love windshield time, and I love it when you're on a plane because you're meeting people you'll never see again in your life. You're in a hotel by yourself. That's time. I love it. Okay, so that's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1 conversation per day about the business. Okay, so how often do you do events? Virtual events, I do once a month. So that's you having the event and inviting your people to your event that you're doing. And I do them on Zoom. Everybody does them differently. Some people do them on Facebook. I like Zoom because it's interactive, and I let people know up front, this is going to be a quick introduction to our brand. We'll talk about the business a little, and we'll talk about the products a little. And I will share why I got in the business, what it's doing for me, and what my concerns were when I joined. Some people want to hear that you had the same concerns and drawbacks that they have. And I let them know it's going to be 25 to 30 minutes tops. People need to know up front that you are not going to keep them on Zoom for 2 hours. So I think it's really important to tell them up front, this is 25 minutes in and out, and then you need to stick to the time. But you've got to have your own. Don't always, you got to, even if you're new, you're positioning yourself from day one in your business as the leader of your team, even if that's a future team that you have. You need to start acting like from day one that you have 25 directs. I did that from day one. I created my team page before I had a team. I started copying other people's stuff that I liked and enjoyed in their files because I had time early in my business to do that, or I made time to do it. So if you're acting like you're a leader of a big team from day one of your business, then you are doing your own events, and you are also, after 3 months in your business, you should be doing your own 3-way calls for other people that join you. In-person events, 2 a month. So you should be doing 1 virtual, or this is what I do. I have 1 virtual and I have 2 personal events. I recommend that you do 1 live event of your own and try to, and another one, your second one, team up with other people. It'd be more advantageous if you do those events with people on your own team. Usually I don't do them with people that have a different lineage than me, but sometimes I do. But it's best to kind of keep everybody in the same family. The success rate for events is similar, whether it's virtual or in person. And I was told this from day one. And if you read any marketing books or books about network marketing or direct sales, they will all tell you. I think the other one that I read was, so the first one I read was GoPro, this one. The second one that I read was, Beach Money. It wasn't this one, Beach Money. And Beach Money, he talks about the success rate of conversations and events. And it's kind of the same no matter what brand you're in. When you have an event, you will invite 100 people and 10 people might show, 10 people will say yes. So you have a 10% yes rate to somebody showing up and listening to what you have to say. Right before the event, 2 people will call you and say, my dog got run over and my kid's throwing up. Something along the lines of that. So you're really going to have 8 people show up, okay? If you invite 100. If you want more people to show up than that, then you better invite 200. One of my leaders used to have an online event, and she would invite everybody that she knew every single time. Of the people that show up, usually are the people who listen to what you're going to say. About 25% of those people will actually do something, whether they buy something or they join you eventually. But you can bank on 25% of those 8 people who showed up will do something. But it doesn't mean they'll do something right now. So you go back to your network marketing books, and they will also tell you that, and this is Marketing 101, it takes 10 to 12 touches or interactions with a person for them to actually do something. So when you have an event and you invite somebody, and I say 25% of those people will do something, it doesn't necessarily mean they'll do it the first time they hear about it. If this is the first time they've heard the RF spiel and they're not necessarily in a buying mode, they're not going to buy right then. But your fortune is in your follow-up, because you're following up with 5 people a day, right? The people that came to your events. The people that didn't come to your events, that's a follow-up. That's a good conversation. I like it when people feel guilty that they didn't come to your event. Because then that's a phone call. You call them up and say, how about a 10-minute phone call instead? I'm sure that works for your schedule better. So remember that, and I don't know how you want to keep up with it. Some people use the 100 No worksheet. If you've heard of that, it's in the Business Development Library. I don't personally use that, but it is a good way to keep up with, you know, when you should hit a yes, you know, because those percentages. But also, too, I would encourage you, whether it's on a spreadsheet or in a notebook or whatever, I'm going to kind of show you what I do in a minute, but keep up with how many times that you have touched that person or interacted with them. So your expectation is not unrealistic, because unless it's the 10th or 12th interaction, it's a little bit too early for you to be expecting somebody to buy something or join your team. Okay. And I have to also go back and remember how long it took me to say yes to the business too, several months. Because I was that skeptic. I was that person that didn't want to be that girl or that person. You know, I didn't understand direct sales. I didn't know what residual income was. I thought when you said opportunity to somebody that was like what a used car salesman said. That's just how I grew up. It didn't mean it was right. It was just, I just was uneducated. So remember that. People are just kind of truly uneducated. The success rate of, okay, so what do I attribute to the success of my events? I stick to simplicity. I've always been taught when you have an event, serve wine, water, and cookies. Do not make it any more complicated than that. Wine, water, and brownies. Wine, water, and cheese and crackers. Don't make chicken salad sandwiches and serve people dinner, because the people that are coming will look around and go, oh my gosh, if this is what I have to do to run a business like this, it seems like a lot. So one of my leaders, Crystal Archie, had her first event, and she invited all pro NFL players and their wives, and had massage chairs and chicken salad sandwiches and this big shindig. Spent a ton of money. Not one person from that event has ever bought anything from her or joined her team. So first of all, I attribute the success to being simplistic. I keep it to a short amount of time. If I have an event at night, I have it at 6 p.m. because that makes people come straight from work. If they have time to go home and sit down on their couch, they're not going to get back up. So I have social time from 6 to 6:30. I start the event at 6:30, and I will talk a maximum of 50 minutes. Do not keep people longer than an hour. They won't hear it. So simplicity, time frame, and I tell people about the business and the products. Okay? I do not get stuff out and put redefined mask on people's faces. I might get out an intensive renewing serum, and I might put it around on somebody's, or I might at the very end ask them if they want to come up and try the lip serum. They can, but I keep it very, very, very simple. And most of what I talk about is the business and how it affects, my life and what it's doing for me. Business partners. How many business partners have you signed your first year, second year, and how many of those worked the business successfully? Okay, this was a wake-up call for me, so I'm glad you guys asked this question, because I had not gone back and looked at this. So I printed out from my Pulse. I went in my Pulse and got a report of people that were just direct to me. Okay, in 2015, so I started my business in January. This is so sad. I only recruited 4 people. Okay, and let me say, 1, 2, 3 of those people are still working. 2 of them are main legs for me. 1 is a fence sitter. She sometimes hits 600, sometimes not. And I had 1 sign up as a face washer and 1 quit. Okay, first year I had 4. Second year I had 8. That's still too low. Really, our company teaches that you should recruit, your goal should be 2 people per month and 5 brand new preferred customers every month. That should be your goal. That's how Sarah Robbins said it from day one. And I know a lady here who lives in Nashville, who was her accountability partner early on in the business, and that's always been their goal. So I had 8 people join me in business that second year. One of them is a leg for me now. I'm sorry, 2. My third year, which was 2017, I signed 7 people. 0 of those people stuck. No one that I recruited in 2017 stuck. That's terrible. But it doesn't have anything to do with me. It's percentages. It's a math equation, right? I'm not taking responsibility for the fact that people don't want to work, or they think it's too hard, or they're giving up. This year, and this is really sad, I've only recruited 3 people. So this is why I've slid back from level 5 to level 4 in June. I hit level 5 again in July. I will slide back again this month. But it's because I do not have enough people recruited on my team. There's another math equation to this too. Did you know there is a 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 rule? When you recruit someone on your team, 1/3 of those people will go missing in action and will never call you again, or they'll become a face washer and they won't answer your phone calls. The end, the truth. For whatever reason, 1/3. Another 1/3 of people will say they're working, and they will talk about their goals and how much they love the company and blah, 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 and they talk and they don't do squat. But they talk a lot, but do not let that mask what they're really doing. You need to be pulling up your pulse report and figuring out what people are really doing. But you can see if they're having events or not. If they're not having events and bringing you 3-way calls, they're not working. They're just talking about what they want to do. Don't waste your time. And then a third of the people that you recruit will actually be EC legs for you. One third. So you got to remember that. So I've not recruited enough people to stay level 5, right? So technically to have a solid level 5, you have to recruit a minimum of 24, 25 people, because a third of that would be 8 legs, right? So out of those 1/3 people that EC, you will end up with about 10% of that 1/3. And usually that's only 1 or 2 legs are going to make you 90% of your money. So I have 1 leg that makes me all my money right now. 1. And that is just, and I've talked to people who've been in this business. Gabe Sedlak has been in this business for 10 years. He's one of the very first ones. And he still makes the majority of his money on 2 legs. And for many years, he made the majority on 1. So just know that. Take care of those people. Appreciate them. Okay. So don't expect as a leader for things to be different than the mathematical equation tells you, because you're setting yourself up. There's enough disappointment in the business anyway, because it is a roller coaster, and that's okay, because it's worth it in the end. It's worth every bit of roller coaster. There have been days that I have cried over this business, and there have been days that my level 5 under me has cried about this business. It's okay. It's just like any other income producing job or business. There's going to be good days and bad days, but I will say this, it's worth it in the end. And one thing that helps is to not expect things to be different than the mathematical equation says they're going to be, right? It's math, whether it's Rodan and Fields or another business. Okay. When I go, buy my cosmetics at the cosmetics counter, or really I order them now, but it's not personal if I don't buy what the girl puts on me or the guy or whatever. Our business is the same. You can't take it personal when people decide they're not ready. But it's your fault if you don't follow up with them. I've had also 2 people on my team who have followed up. Well, you got to have a dream team list too. But I've had people on my team that recruited a dream team lister after that dream team person has ignored them over and over and over, 10 months in a row, they've been ignored. And then, all of a sudden they answer and they're coming to an event because they see that you're being persistent and that you're serious about your business. Okay. Do you recruit in the cold market? Yes, you have to. It depends on what kind of market you start with as to how quick you're going to have to recruit in the cold market. But I would say that if you're making yourself a part of other kind of groups like the Chamber of Commerce and what I was telling you before, or other groups that have nothing to do with Rodan and Fields, if you join some of those outside groups even early in your business, your cold recruiting is going to go faster, because our job is to constantly fill our funnel and wait for those people to flush out. And they flush out because you are consistent in your follow-up with them. Hey, I just wanted to circle back around to you. That is a great statement for follow-up. I wanted to circle back around to you because, and then there's a lot of reasons to circle back around to people. You're having an event, an article came out about Rodan and Fields that you wanted to share with them, a new piece of information. So I go to Google and I sign up for Google Alerts. And so when an article comes out about Rodan and Fields, I get it immediately. And that day I go to my dream teamers and I say, hey, I wanted to share this with you. Can you jump on the phone for a minute? And then they see that you're getting your information quickly, that you're on top of things. So if you go to Google, you can sign up for alerts. I don't know how to do it, but you can Google how to do it. But sign up for alerts, and then you want to sign up for alerts with the catchphrase or the subject being Rodan. So anything that comes up with the name Rodan, then they're going to email you the article. Okay, so you're following up. Okay. Another way to cold market recruit, and I learned this from another girl that's on my team, or that I'm on the same team as her. She only started out with 500 Facebook friends, and when she joined this business, she's like, I'm a nurse, I just see patients, I have no friends, I don't have a big family, I'm not that social, and I only have 500 friends on Facebook. So she cold recruits by friending people that Facebook suggests that she be friends with. And she becomes friends with them. She develops a relationship by commenting on their Facebook page. And then she sends them a message that says something along the lines of, hey, this is kind of random, but I see that we have several mutual Facebook friends in common. I found something that's really too good to keep to myself. And that's a business that I have that's allowed me to blah, 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 whatever it is. I'd love to share it with you if you're open to the idea, or if you're open to listening to it. That's how she cold recruits. And then when somebody doesn't answer her, she follows up with them in 2 weeks and says, hey, not sure if you saw my last message, blah, blah, blah. If they don't answer again, she follows up in 2 more weeks and offers them a sample. She gets a lot of people that will take a free sample. So if they don't bite on the business, they don't bite on the first follow-up 2 weeks later, then a month after the first contact, she offers them a sample. And she sends them one sample, not a bunch, like a mini facial or whatever you have, a lip serum or something. And then that's how to pull somebody in on the products. And then once they come in on the products, then you have a better chance of recruiting them as a consultant. There's also another leader that I learned from at convention a couple of years ago. She was having a hard time recruiting. She always offered the business when she talked to somebody on the phone. And when they said no, she said, okay, well, let's get you started on the best skin of your life. She immediately signed them up as a PC. Immediately. Because every person that you come in contact with should be a consultant, or they should be a customer, or they should be a referral source. So when people tell you, no, I really like what I'm using, I always say, well, I know whatever brand you're using doesn't have a roller. They don't have hydrating serum. They don't have lip serum, whatever. So I try that. But if people just say, no, 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 I go to them and say, look, I'm building this business because, and I tell them why I'm doing the business. And I say, I know that you will run across people, or that you know people that really want to do something that they can't do under their current circumstances. They want to adopt a kid. They want to take a mission trip to Haiti. They want to build a church. They want to quit their job. I know that you know people that want to do some of those things. Who do you know that you can connect me with that may be open to this opportunity, because it could take them where they want to go? And so that person becomes a referral source. So they're one of those three things. Just expect it. So that was about recruiting to cold market. Strategy to attract 3 to 5 business partners and keep them engaged. So the goal should be to attract 2 new business partners every month. And the way that you do that is by having consistent events and consistent phone calls. People join the business because you interact with them. And the best way to do that is in person, belly to belly, or on an actual phone call. Because when you talk to them on the phone, you are listening to what their needs are. So go listen to that call from Natalie Flowers about 3-way calls. But I also have changed a little bit of my strategy in the last year or so. When I get somebody on the phone, the first thing I ask them is, and a lot of sales videos will tell you this, you don't tell them anything. You ask them why they were curious enough to get on this phone call. And then you go from there asking them questions about what they're missing or what solutions they're looking for in their life. Because you can jack your jaws and tell them a bunch of stuff they don't even care about. Because I know one of my directs did this. She told this girl about all this money that she can make and how much she could improve herself financially. And the girl, after 20 minutes, turned around and said, that's great, but I just, that doesn't do it for me. Patting my checkbook. What did it for her was something else. I don't remember what it was, but you have to ask the questions. Keeping 3 to 5. So what will attract those business partners is events and phone calls. Keeping them engaged. You cannot motivate people. What you can do is find people that are self-motivated. So remember that. Sometimes it's hard to remember because I post things on my team page, and sometimes people engage and sometimes they don't. But you know what? I don't really care. I do care if they're bringing in business partners and they're accomplishing their own goals. So keeping people engaged, I do what I think is important to post on my team page, and whether people bite on that or not, or whether they absorb the information, is totally up to them. And I said before, I do talk to my directs on the phone a couple of times a month. To grab from them how they're feeling, what they're struggling with, and if they have a different goal, for the next 3 months than they had for the last 3 months. For new business partners that just get started, what do you understand is the most important thing they should know or do? So they should understand the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. They should understand the 5 things that we do. We post, we host, we connect, we train, and we do 3-way calls. They should understand those 2 things as their basic. What I tell them that they don't need to understand, they don't need to understand the business development library. In fact, I don't even tell them where it is. I don't tell them how they get paid unless they ask me. I don't tell them how to sign up a PC. Because until you have somebody that's ready to buy, you don't need to know that. In the very beginning, I ask them what their goal is, if they want to go fast or slow, because that dictates whether they're going to do the Spark program. And then if they want to go fast and they tell me they want to earn $500 next month, that's how much they want to get paid, then I can tell them exactly how to do that. Let them accomplish one small goal first, and then you move on to the next one. If their goal is to quit their full-time job in 6 months, that's a different conversation. So I go on what their needs are and what they want. But they need to understand 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and they need to understand the 5 basic things we do, because that is a rinse and repeat. You do those 5 things, you rinse and repeat. But if you do not carve out time in your schedule every single day, because this business can be worked in 1 hour a day. That 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 that I explained, that was done in 1 hour a day by a girl who was mucking stalls because she was a horse trainer, and she would go and spend all of her time out in the pasture training people to ride horses, and then she was having to muck her own stalls and clean up after her own horses. And she needed to figure out how to do this business in 1 hour a day, and that's how she came up with it. So I tell people, minimally you do that. You carve out 1 hour a day, 6 days a week to do that. The 7th day, you plan for your business for the next week. And so you plan your hour. And if you're really organized, you will write down the names of the people, like on Sunday, if that's your 7th day, and your planning day, you'll write down Monday, who am I going to follow up with and who am I going to talk to new. You write all those names down, and then you sit down to work your hour. You already know who you're calling, what you're doing. Okay. Do you have a system or document that you use to close sales more efficiently? No, not really. I don't have a document, but I have learned this over the last few years. When you reach out to people, you're initially asking them if they would be open to a conversation. They're saying yes or no. If they say they're open to hearing about what the brand has to offer, then you want to have a conversation, a short conversation with them on the phone. Just you and them. Hey, what's your interest level and why would you be interested in looking at this? You get feedback from them. After that, you're inviting them to something. You're inviting them to an event, or you're inviting them to watch a video and read an article. So I usually send them an email that has one article, usually the article that was written in April. There's an article written in April, and it's just a real basic blurb about our company and how we were #1 in North America. I send them that article, and then I choose a video that is applicable to them. So there's a lot of videos on YouTube. If y'all don't have videos that your team has done, which is a basic, opportunity call, but it's in a video form, make one, that says, here's why I joined, here are my reservations, and here's what it's doing for me. But you need someone to give them a foundation of how the business works before you get them on a 3-way call, because you can't spend your whole 3-way call explaining the whole business to them, because that's a waste of 30 minutes of your time. You got to be efficient. So I didn't do that early in my business, but I've learned to do it now, because if somebody's really interested in learning about it, they'll watch a video, and they can watch the video while they're cooking dinner or listen to it while they're in the car. So I call them and ask them about their interest, if they're open to it. If they are, I invite them to read an article, watch a video, or come to an event. And then I invite them to a 3-way call with my sponsor to help close that deal, to help pull them in. And the way that I do that is I say to them, the next step is for you to meet someone else on my team so you can get a good picture as to how my team works. That is how I get them on the phone. It really doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. And people want to know that you're interested in pulling them into a tribe, and that's kind of how they feel when you do that. So that's kind of my way for kind of closing them in the business. If somebody contacts me and says they're interested in products, to me that's a slam dunk sale. I call them up and say, we're going to do the solution tool right now while we're on the phone, and I do it for them, and then I send them the report while we're on the phone, and I say, it suggests that you start with this regimen, and I highly recommend that you get the roller with it, because you're just going to get better results. And I assume a sale. If they are asking me about products, I'm assuming a sale. Now, if they say, well, I'm going to have to save up for that and wait till payday, and I said, okay, which day should I call you back? Every time you talk to somebody, you should be making an appointment for the next time that you talk to them. And that's what some of these networking books have taught me, is that every single contact with somebody over Messenger or a text should end with a question. Every single time you physically talk to somebody, it should end with an appointment for the next time that you're going to talk to them, because your purpose of connecting with them is to make an appointment for the next connection. You go from one connection to another until they say yes. So please never leave a conversation without an appointment of the next time. And people will see that as professional. Because when I say, okay, I'm going to send you this video, when would be a good day to follow up to get your feedback on what you thought about it? And then you be quiet and you let them think about it, and you think about their schedule and when they're going to have time to watch the video. Don't suggest it for them. Just let them tell you. And when they say, it's probably going to be about like a week and a half because blah, 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 and they tell you their schedule, and you go, great. What time? Is night or day better for you? I always ask them which. I don't say if, I say when. So every time I ask somebody a question, it's, are weekends or weekdays better for you? And they say weekdays. And I say, 8 o'clock at night, would that be good? Or is lunchtime better? So I give them two choices. I let them choose. I don't ask open-ended questions about appointments. I ask open-ended questions when I'm asking them about their interest in the business. Okay, what is the total number of PCs that you have? 63. How many of these are active buyers and they order at least every 2 to 3 months? I did not look that up. I average a minimum of 10 orders per month. Minimum. I never let myself get less than 10 because then I lose my lead the way miles. Right now, today, I have 17 orders, and I'm going to go find 3 more because I'm not going to leave that extra lead the way mile on the table. Okay? Never leave lead the way miles on the table, because that's free stuff, right? All those boxes, free stuff. Even if I'm not going to use it for myself, I'll use it as a gift for my team, because I don't care about half of that stuff. I will tell you that. I have purses that I've never used. I have stuff that I don't care about, water bottles and all that junk. I'll use it for incentives for my team. And then, do I have a PC program to keep them engaged? No, I don't. A lot of people have PC pages. To me, that sounds like a pain in the ass because I want to recruit business partners, but some people use that to recruit business partners out of their PC pool. It's something to think about. You know, I do have people that have a PC page and they give them specials every once in a while, not every month, but hey, just because you're a preferred customer, blah, blah, blah. And they also put business excerpts on their PC page. I have not done that yet because I just haven't taken the time to do it. But I do keep my PCs engaged by talking to them on the phone. I have some people that most of my people order for themselves. Some of them are just handicapped in some way, or shape, or form. They're old or they're a technical dinosaur and they're just not going to do it. And so I will offer to do that for them. I do have a couple of people that order once a month and they buy everything that I tell them to buy. You're gonna have a couple of those people. This morning, since I'm lacking 3 orders to get to 20, I called up a girl. I started with my people that I know will say yes, that are already my PCs. And I called her up and I said, there's 2 products that are hydrating that you need to try, and I know you'll love them. And she goes, really? And I said, yes. One is an under eye product for dark circles, tired eyes, and crepiness. The other one is our first all over body product. You really need to try those 2. And I'm happy to put your order in for you. I spoke with authority. I told her why she would enjoy them, and I showed her from my experience. And she goes, okay. I said, would you be willing to try those? And she goes, yeah, I'd be willing. And I said, okay, I'm putting some other orders in today. Can I go ahead and put yours in for you? So I keep the passwords of all my PCs in case they say yes, that they will try it and they're too busy to do the order themselves. So at the end of the month, I am willing to put in some PC orders for people. But I do not make a habit of doing my PC's orders for them. It's a terrible habit to get in. When you bring on a new PC, I will share this with you too. I'll give it to Diana. She can share it with y'all. I created an email and I send it to my new people and I say, this is how you order /delay. And it is a step-by-step instruction. If you want to order, do this. If you want to delay, do this. If you want to order more than once in a month because you forgot something, here's what you do. But you are responsible for your account. The end. And I put their password on there for them, and I put my website. So I will give that to Diana, and she can pass it to you. But that's an easy way to train your new PCs to do stuff for themselves. Okay, unless I said like they're a technical dinosaur and they're really old, but you know they'll buy stuff, so you can offer to do that for them. Or if you think they'll just order a crap ton of stuff and they, you know, don't want to do it themselves. But I really don't give people options. Okay, so that is the only other thing that I wanted to add that was not on here is social media. We used to get away with just posting a lot of before and afters. That is not the case anymore. You need to figure out what your voice is and who you are and brand yourself, because people are not really buying products, they are buying you. And you need to figure out what that is, what that says. Like, find 3 words that describes you. You know, you're a dog lover, you love hiking, you're a Christian, or whatever, I don't know. And make sure that what you say in your post reflects you, and you don't need to be doing a lot of copy and pasting on what other people do, because Facebook is not going to show it anymore. But more than that, people are going to think you're just one big advertisement, and there's nothing worse than an ad, you know, to people. They want to know that you're sincerely sharing what you have to offer. So talk about what the product feels like. People want to feel something. So I did a post, you can look, yesterday or the day before, that said, wow, how do you think it would make you feel, blah, 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 blah. People want to experience something, and when you prompt them to feel something, whether it's a product feel or a feeling in their life, you know, feel like a burden's been lifted because you have extra finances or whatever. When you prompt people to feel something, they will respond with you better, or they will listen to what you're saying. Okay. Document everything that has to do with your business, whether we are training, whether we are going to an event, you know, whatever we're doing. So you want to document it and share it in an authentic way. All right, I'm going to take a picture. Do you guys want to smile? I know one's driving. So, all right, if everybody else smile, I'm going to take a picture. Oh, I see a little one too. He can be in the picture, or she. I can't see. Okay, it's a he. Okay, everybody want to smile? 1, 2, 3. All right, that was a good one. I'll share it with you guys so y'all can post. And if you want to tag me, you can do that too. Okay, what questions? We've been over an hour, but I'm going to unmute you guys and see what kind of questions that you have. I did a lot of talking.
It was awesome. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed your call, and I was struggling myself because I don't have a notebook, but I definitely will see again the link.
Yeah.
Because there was so many things that hit me really well. First, the events that we didn't get anyone to come. At the beginning of my business, I felt that I just stopped doing events because people stopped showing up. But right now, I'm trying to tell my people, don't worry if in your lounge no one show up. So I love that, and you make me, you know, feel that's the way that it's just a reason to connect and to follow up. And I don't know. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was a really good call.
Well, and on top of that too, I go ahead and tell new consultants right off the bat. I didn't used to do this, but I do now. I say, you are going to have an event where nobody's going to show up. And guess what? That's normal. So you're going to be in good company, because every single person in this company has had, and the RFXers too, have had events where no one has showed up, and it doesn't matter. That's not the point. So I tell them up front so they can expect it. It's almost like, when I was an interior designer, and I used to tell people, guess what? When your new paint color gets up, you're going to have buyer's remorse. It's going to shock you. But guess what? Live with it for a couple of weeks and you're going to love it. So, you have to kind of tell people ahead of time.
I just want to say, kind of second what Glory's saying, and just give you the thank you so much for taking your time and to really go through our questions. For me, it was very rewarding to hear you say about the business partners by year. That's something I really struggle with. Like I can't keep up a good volume every month, and I since I started, I've been an EC, but I do struggle getting the business partners. And this is what I wanted to hear. I want to hear something real. Not everybody has like a dream business launch. Not everybody has very successful 2 or 3 years. And just hearing this from you, which has been very successful, but the success is measured differently for everybody. And it's very refreshing for me and empowers me. Like, okay, this is real. It's not just me. This happens. But what do we do now? How do we proceed, right? To keep working towards that goal. But I really appreciate your honesty sharing those comments.
Yeah, and watching a daily experience every single day is really key to your mindset, because it kept me feeling normal. Like, even when I wasn't doing the things that I knew I should, and so therefore I wasn't pulling my part, and I felt guilty about that. And then you have this whole guilt cycle. Watching the daily experience and hearing people's stories of how they messed up, or they didn't have this dream business either starting out, that kept me mentally in the game, and it's really maybe one of the most important things you can do, for sure. So one time I watched a video, I think it was on there, it might have been on a different page, but Natalie Flowers, I don't know if y'all know her. Y'all need to go find her and follow her on Facebook. She is bitching. She got to Lexus volume and slid back to 50,000. Y'all, she almost quit. In fact, she called corporate to quit. And Meredith Teason was the regional at that time and said, you can quit, but what about all those people that are following you? Do you not feel a responsibility to them? Y'all, she called corporate to quit, and look where she is now. That story has kept me going, like that reality.
Who is that girl?
Huh?
Who is the name of that girl? Who is it?
Natalie Flowers.
Okay.
I wrote it down earlier.
Yeah.
And you said this record will be available for us then to go back, because I took notes, and I would like to go back and then make sure it is very helpful. I'm really glad that we were able to have this training.
Yeah. I'm going to send it to just you guys that earned it. I believe that training's for everyone, but you guys don't need to share this one because you earned it. And that is out of respect for Diana, because if she ever offers this again, then the rest of your team needs to hear that you enjoyed it and it was good and it was worthy of running for. And that will honor Diana.
Yeah.
So
when you send us the picture, we can do the post and comment on that.
Yeah. And then, so Vanessa, you're an EC right now?
Yes.
When did you start?
November 2017.
Okay.
And I did sign out right away 2 business partners.
Oh, good.
And with one signed up one right away, but they are not. One quit, and the other one is just not working it.
Yeah. So they fell in that 66 percentile, right?
Yeah.
And then, what about you, Glorabelle? Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you?
I'm level 2. I have 8 business partners. Only 2 work. The other one doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
I have two new VPs that are working hard this month. They sign up at the end of July, at the beginning of August. But at this moment, I'll be honest with you. I think I'm approaching these two girls from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell my girls that, this is your business. You can do whatever you want. I will help you if you want to run. Or if you don't have time, don't worry. We'll do the lounge when you feel comfortable, when whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm clear at this moment that it was a mistake that I made and a disservice that I do with all those girls. And right now, I'm trying to do better with my girls and see if I can hit level 3 soon.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. When somebody comes in, I tell them this is a system dependent business. If you want to make money, this is how to do it. If you don't want to make money, then you should be a preferred customer.
Yeah. Totally.
I mean, this is a business. I don't really sign face washers. I've signed a couple. You know what that is, right?
A what?
A face washer?
Yeah, face washer,
okay.
Yes.
So I signed a couple of those early in my business because I thought, I'm going to get them in, whatever. And they never did anything. So I say, are you ready to make money? And if they are, then I ask them what their goals are. And I say, well, this is how to get there. Are you willing to do this? Like I ask them up front, here's how to get to where you want to go. Are you willing to do this? And they can be scared. It's okay to be scared. But if they're not willing to do it, I tell them up front, I can't help you if you're not going to do what the system is set up to do for you. And I will tell them too, I don't like doing it every day. I don't always like going to events, and I don't like every time following up with people. It's not fun picking up the phone sometimes. But do I want to get to my end result? I have to have a car. My car is 12 years old. So do I want my end result more than my comfortable situation? And I just ask my people that. I mean, I had a girl that joined in July and quit already. Whatever. I don't care. Get out of the way if you're not going to work. I want to make room for people that are.
Yeah.
So it is a good idea what you're saying to kind of tell people, what do you want to do? Because my time is spent helping people that want to make money. And if you're in it just for the fun and being a cheerleader and you want to come to all the events and you want a tribe of people to belong to, that is a reason for doing this. But I need to know, because I don't want to push you where you don't want to go. That's my job as a leader, and they will respect that. So, but y'all also, I don't know, are you both directs to Diana?
No, I'm like 4 levels down.
Okay. Well, the way that my team works too, we've always been taught that we have to go to our sponsor first for everything. And this is a teaching moment for our sponsor. So Diana's not your sponsor, really to give your sponsor the opportunity to learn, you need to ask them questions. And if they're not answering you, then you need to copy that same question and do a group message to their sponsor. And if they don't answer you, you copy all 3 of them and you ask the same question to the next person up. And that helps her also to realize who's working and who's not and who wants to.
Yeah.
Because
I'm helping my sponsor to get level 2.
Yeah. Well, and that's fair. So it helps her learn too. But I cannot do 3-way calls for everybody in my organization. I don't have time, and it hinders my own growth. So duplication is important. So if you kind of follow that model, then you're also duplicating for everyone that comes behind you, because you got to remember you're going to have a team one day. And what happens when 40 people in your organization want you to do 3-way calls for them? It won't work.
Yeah.
So what you do with your upline also is a real good replication, and your people that are coming in on your team are going to see how you're working your business, and they're going to copy everything that you do. So make sure that you're taking three-way calls to the right person and that you're doing all the things that you want all the people behind you to do.
Sure. Thank you very much. My husband is calling me like crazy.
Okay.
I think I need to say bye, and thank you very much, Kristen.
You're welcome. Have a good one.
Bye. Have a good day.
Bye, Vanessa. See you later.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.